Every time I open my socials, I just see protein recipes. High protein breakfast, high protein snack, high protein desserts. Everything has to have protein in it or it doesn't count at all.
We're making protein peanut butter balls.
All you do is take a container of cottage cheese,
1 cup of cottage cheese,
A pound of cottage cheese.
Blended cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese.
cottage cheese.
You're gonna want to make this.
And look, I get it, I really do, because not long ago, that was me. I was the girl rating my chicken breast, tracking every of my macros on FitnessPal, making high protein versions of literally everything. It didn't make me healthier. It almost ruined my relationship with food entirely. So today I want to share my whole story about this protein thing and how I got stuck into it, what it did to me, and what I learned coming on the other side. If you're new here, hi, my name is Sabrina. In this channel, we talk about all sorts of things: lifestyle, travel, anime, games, and self-improvement. So if this sounds like the kind of things that you're into, hit subscribe, let's be friends, and let's get into the video. And the thing is, some of these recipes are actually pretty creative and attractive. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've tried a few of them and they're actually good and I'm still using them nowadays. These are not just like recipes, they become like your everything. And the only types of recipes that you're relying to just because you want to hit your daily protein. But here, what started to bother me. They're literally everywhere. The other day I was at the grocery store and I was picking up pasta, but then I noticed that they were also protein pasta. So I actually took a look at the two boxes and I wanted to see what was the actual difference between the one with extra protein and the other one. The regular pasta already had 7 grams of protein. The higher protein version only had like 10 grams of protein, which means they were 3 grams more and it cost double the price. Are those 3 grams of extra protein worth paying twice as much? Or for example, Greek yogurt. You know that thing literally always had protein in it, but now they have high protein written on the label in huge letters. But it's the same yogurt, it just costs way more now. And this is happening with everything. Chickpeas, nuts, or regular food, they always had protein and are suddenly marked as high protein, like it's somehow a new discovery. And look, I'm not even mad about it because companies are doing what companies do, finding what's trending and trying to capitalize on it. But what I'm more curious about is, when did we all become so obsessed with protein? Like, how did we even get here? Because I remember when I got into this whole thing, and looking back now, I can see how it started out innocent and slowly became something else. Let me take you back in my early 20s. I was really into fitness and like really into it. I was very eager to reach my fitness goals. So I learned about macros, proteins, and I started to track my macros. And I was like, okay, well, this is science, this makes sense. If I want to be healthier, this is what I have to do. So I found this fitness program where for 90 days you were following a diet that was high protein, low carb, with working out 5 days. And to be efficient with everything, what I was doing is that I started to meal prep everything. Since I've learned exactly how many grams of protein I needed per day, I was basically tracking, measuring everything just to make sure I was hitting my perfect macros every day. And at first it felt amazing. I started to lose weight, I was building muscles, I felt in control, I was feeling so much better because I was also eating healthier. I cut out all the junk food, processed food, I was not drinking alcohol anymore. I felt like the best versions of myself. And on the top of that, I got into the fitness communities. We were always talking about our favorite recipes, our favorite protein powder, favorite workout. I actually really had a great time during that fitness era. But this is when things eventually started to shift. After 2 months of strict diet where I was restricting myself with carbs and eating high protein, I've started to notice changes in my body. I started to have those episodes where I was eating a lot. And in here, I'm not talking about having a cheat meal or enjoying dessert. I'm talking about sitting down and eating like a jar of peanuts or even a bag of dates. So I was eating and I was doing all these things without even realizing. And this whole time I remember I was telling myself, well, it's okay because you're still enjoying healthy food and you're not grabbing that bag of chips or eating like 10 hamburgers instead. They weren't junk food, so to me it didn't count as binging, but it was, right? The worst part in all this is that this is when I started to also feel guilty about it, because every time I went over my macros, macro, I felt like I failed. And so I would compensate. I would tell myself that I will just do an extra workout the next day, or I would do more cardio, or I would eat less just to balance it out. That desire to constantly wanting to fit my macro eventually was such an obsession that actually became the beginning of my vicious circle, where I would restrict myself, binge, feel guilty, compensate, and then repeat. And I didn't realize how bad it was until one day I was at my friend's birthday party. We were at the restaurant and I was looking at the menu. I was realizing that actually I couldn't eat anything, so I spent basically the whole dinner just barely eating a thing. And I felt bad for my friend because she kept on asking me why wasn't I ordering anything, or why wasn't I eating, and I was coming up with excuses like, oh, I'm just not that hungry. Whereas the truth is just that nothing in the menu was going to help me hit my macros. I would rather like restrict myself and then compensate it when I go home than actually just enjoy myself and enjoy my friends' birthday dinner. And the worst part is not that I didn't want it, like I could have just done it, but because I was so obsessed with hitting my macros, wanting to eat my protein, the fact that on the menu I couldn't figure out how many protein does this meal have or how many carbs does this meal have, I couldn't like exactly measure it. I was like, no, it's better if I don't have it. And the downside of this is that once I realized something was wrong, it took me years to fix it. 2 years of unlearning everything I thought I knew about food, and sometimes I'm still working on it. It's definitely better now. I'm in my 30s and like I have a better relationship with food, because I think at this time this was just the trigger of like a lot of unhealthy relationship with food. Admitting that I am an emotional eater, and that every time I'm feeling a high emotion, whether I'm extremely sad or I'm extremely angry, I have the coping mechanism to actually reach out to eat something just to appease myself. If this sounds familiar to you, I just want you to know that you're not alone in this. A lot of people have gone through the same thing. There's a way to get out of it. Also, it's important to talk about it, and not enough people talks about the side effect. And I think it's even worse as a woman. These types of situation also affects our hormones. Some of us can lose their periods, or people like me where they were like constantly having them, and I didn't know that my relationship with food was one of the reasons why my hormones were all over the place. Fitness content has exploded on social media, especially during and after the pandemic, when everyone was home and wanted to be healthier. And creators figured out that people love transformation content. The before and after, the what I eat in a day, and watching people with amazing body telling you what to eat. You can only make so many what I eat in a day videos until they all blend together. Eventually, creators needed a hook. They needed something a little bit more measurable, something that you could track and compete with it. And so protein became that thing. We started to see videos like I ate 150 grams of protein in one day, or videos like hit your protein goals with me. And the algorithm loved that type of content because it's concrete. It puts numbers in the thumbnail and you can track your progress. And psychologically speaking, when we talk about numbers, we are more attracted to numbers because it feels like something more tangible and something that we can rely on. So now your feed was just becoming content recipes. Everywhere you look, that protein bagel with cottage cheese, a chicken crust recipe that you could use for making a pizza just to hit higher proteins and having low carbs. But here's what this content actually teaching us, whether we means it or not, that food is just numbers, that your body is a project that needs optimization, that if you're not hitting those goals, you're basically failing. And I think the worst part is that a lot of these creators are not even nutritionists or dietitians. They're just people who figured out that putting high proteins in a title will get them more view, or that this is what works for them, so it should work for everyone else. Many of them have sponsorship with protein powders, supplement brands, meal prep services, and they are not trying to trick you, but they do have a financial intensive in making you think that you need more protein, that you're not doing enough in your daily routine. And look, I'm not blaming the creators, I get it, but what it does mean is you're getting a lot of information from people who might not even be qualified for it, and who benefits from you feeling like you're never quite measuring it up. It's actually not about protein. It's about control. The message, whether it's intentional or not, is if you track everything perfectly, eat enough protein, hit your macros, you'll finally get the body you want. That's the message. And you'll finally be healthy. You'll finally be enough. And when you're someone who already struggles with feeling in control, that message is really appealing because it gives you rules, it gives you structure, it gives you something to focus on. This level of control isn't suitable for most people, and actually trying to maintain it can make it worse for some. For me, all the tracking and measuring, it just turned food into numbers, and because I am an ambitious person who's goal-driven, I turned my body into a project that needed constant fixing. And I was obsessed with the numbers rather than actually paying attention to my body. The more I tried to control everything, the more out of control I actually felt. Not only I regained the weight I lost, but I even doubled the weight I originally was. This health topic is not talked enough online, and that a lot of people get influenced by the wrong thing, thinking that this is the only way to get to their goals, whereas there are multiple ways and that we are all different. Sometimes this pursuit of wanting to be healthy can actually become the real unhealthy. We should remember how food is supposed to nourish you and not to stress you out. That's why I wanted to make this video and share what really helped me, because I think we need to have conversation about how to be healthy without becoming obsessed. Instead of tracking it, now what I do is basically I will review the order of how I'm gonna eat my plate. You know, calm that past previous obsession of mine. And this helped me naturally prioritize my protein without over stressing about hitting that exact number. And to me, I found it this way being less stressful than tracking every grams. There's gonna be some setbacks, but that's okay. So here's what I think is really happening with this whole obsession with protein. That it's not just about protein. That it is about the idea that if we just follow the rule perfectly, eat enough protein, track your own macros, work out constantly, that we would finally have the body that makes us feel worthy and that makes us feel like we're enough. And companies and algorithms have figured out how to profit from our insecurities. They keep us feeling like we're never enough, that we're never eating enough protein, that we're never disciplined enough. Because if we felt like we were enough, like our bodies were fine, that we could just eat food without turning it into like a math problems. So I'm not saying that this is making you paranoid or tell you to stop watching fitness content. I'm saying all this because I think it's important to be aware of what we are consuming and how it is affecting us or could affect us. The content you watch shapes how you think about yourself. So before you start buying all these overpriced high protein label products, think about everything I just said. Protein is important. I'm not denying that. Your body needs it. And I'm not telling you to ignore it or that tracking is evil. We are all different. But what I'm saying is, if your relationship with food makes you anxious or stressed or guilty, something needs to change. You don't need to go from tracking everything to intuitively eating like tomorrow. Because here's what I learned. My body isn't a problem that needs to be solved. It's not a project. It's not something that needs to be optimized until it's good enough. It's just my body. And deserve to be fed without guilt, without stress, without turning every meal into performances. I wasted years feeling like I was failing because I couldn't hit the arbitrary numbers. And I don't want that for you, because the more we talk about it, the easier it gets. And if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching me rambling about proteins and tracking macros and like cottage cheese for like about 20 minutes. If you aren't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? I think this is your time now because you've stuck until the end of the video. So give me a like and hit subscribe. I hope you found this video valuable. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye!